Dear donors, thanks to your generosity, we're able to edit and upload videos again. Do keep it flowing.
My question is that often I've read in the journeys of seekers, or I've also heard from other seekers that they often speak of the dark night of the soul, and apart from that, they also speak about certain points in their journey which they call tests, or which they speak about being um, like a test, that they are tested, which they only maybe realize in retrospect sometimes. So my question is that what is actually happening when a seeker is going through these tests or experiencing the dark night of the soul, or and what is it actually that the seeker should keep in mind or be cognizant of or be aware of if they find themselves in that position?
For a spiritual seeker on a spiritual path, a transformational path, it's not actually the dark night of the soul that you go through. It's the dark night of the ego, actually. What happens is that the ego has to crumble, break down, be broken down. And what happens in that dark night of the soul is that step by step, all the constructs that have been slapped onto you since your birth is like layer after layer after layer is literally whittled away, is cracked open, is broken down, is chiseled at, is hammered through by the circumstances that you find yourself in. And there is no escape. It just is inexorable. It just goes on and on and on. What exactly life is trying to say is move away from the ego lie, move to the truth impulse. And every time you give into the ego lie, a slap comes, a hammer comes and cracks that bit, and back you have to turn to the truth. And if you don't turn to the truth, the hammer is even harder and even harder and even harder. So all the constructs that society has imposed or slapped on are deconstructed step by step, whether it be education, whether it be family, whether it be concepts of truth and lies and ideas of beauty, ideas of what you feel life owes you. All of those things are broken down. And that is what is called the dark night of the ego, because the ego is dying and it doesn't want to die. And the more it can feel itself being brought to its own funeral pyre, the more it kicks and screams and yells and is fighting to survive. And that process is what is called the dark night of the ego. What the challenges are that come are challenges to all the concepts that have created what you think is you. You think that you're a daughter. You think that you're a sister. You think that you're a dancer. You think that you're a Kshatriya, your caste. You think that you're a future wife to someone. All of these concepts and ideas of who you think you are and what you think you could be and what you ought to be, and all of those things start crumbling. They're taken away. The very concepts are taken away, where you start questioning what is the meaning of all of this. And those are the challenges. And it doesn't happen to everyone. It happens to those who either are meant to go through that and don't know it, and it happens without their acquiescence. And then it happens to those who choose to know themselves, who say, I want to know myself, whatever it is. I want self realization. I can't live like this. I need to know what the hell is going on. What am I doing here? Where have I come from? What is all this about? I'll go mad if I don't find out. And that's when it comes, it starts. You know, that's when the dark night of the ego begins. The challenges in that dark night of the ego are basically constant destruction of everything that you think is what life is or should be, or all these concepts and ideas are just ripped apart. They're shredded to bits. They're crumbled. They're hammered into nothingness. And what follows after that dark night of the ego, as you get closer and closer to the truth, because you can't go anywhere. The moment you try to move out of that state of thisness and presentness and simple surrenderedness, you get another slap. So at one point, you're just very much right there because you have no choice. You can't go anywhere else. You have to be here and now. There follows a time when gradually the purity of that thisness, the purity of you who has attained this beginnings of self-realization and is on the way there, those processes then are, in a sense, tested. It's not that someone is there testing you. Life is doing it. And your own resilience and your own strength of thisness and presentness is tested so that you go even stronger and even more solidly into that thisness. And those tests can be in the areas of sexuality. It can be in the areas of money. It can be in the areas of recognition. It will always come, and the moment you give into it, back you go into that state of misery and darkness and dark egoness, and then back you go into the thisness. And I'm not, when I say you're tested, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have money, or you're not allowed to have sex, or you're not allowed to have recognition. It is the posture from where those things are experienced, which is tested. If it is from a posture of truth and quiet and actually acting from that truth, let's say in a sexual encounter, from a posture of surrender to that center, to that source, to that truth, to that thisness, from that posture, any sexual experience will only be something sacred. If it is not from that posture, if it is from the posture of an egoic state, there will be the pain, there will be the misery, and there will be that back into the stormness. And again, you'll have to come back to the thisness. So those are the challenges, generally in those three areas, those three big areas of human challenge. And that's where it happens.
Spread the joy by liking, by commenting, by sharing, by subscribing, by clicking the bell icon.